how should one show up to the free master?
Well, I guess if we're going to use that symbology, right, then you should show up as somebody who's on the path of free mastery, so to speak, where you understand this has to do with yoga, maybe different levels of yoga and self-realization, of course, and then maybe even self-transcending spiritual practice. And that's what you look for in the case of a free master, so-called free master. And one way to access that is to read their writings if they have any, or their speeches if they have any, or go and meet them and see how they're living in person, which is also available to the few. And then you determine whether or not you want to align yourself with what that is, say, and whether it makes sense to you. Because there's no exchange system here. You don't pay for anything here, which is part of what the free master is about. It's not about materialism in a manner of speaking. It's about survival in the material world, but it's not about taking anything from anybody. That doesn't mean that the agenda is to refuse everyone and everything. No, there's an intelligent heart balance there, but it's very, very simple. Say, not complicated, not a hustle. You know, people bring me incense. Not even, because I keep it or because I need it, but I accept it because it's an offering, a sincere offering in some cases. Right. And so, comment. I know, in a sense, everyone needs guidance, being brought up by what I would call legitimate Christian spiritualist guides. Everyone needs guidance. Not everyone knows what that is. Not everyone knows enough to trust whatever guidance they're getting that is so-called guidance. And it may be good information. Well, who's to say it's real spiritual guidance? And so that's something that everyone has to check for themselves. You have to test what it is. And reading books is one way to test some of it. Being with a person is another way to test more of it. Right? And hearing the teachings as they're spoken is another way to test some of it. Now, in this case, we also have music. I have music I play. That is not popular music by any stretch, but it is valid creative music for the musicians who are open enough and skilled enough to relate to it. And so that, to me, is a form of demonstration of psychic, creative, or spiritual power, if you can call it that. Depends on what your understanding of what creative music is. But that's part of what this is. This is part of the same process. See, manifesting forms from where? I call it hot fire sound. Not that it's good or anybody else's trip, but it's what has developed in my case as I have walked the journey of being around a lot of the great jazz musicians, probably some of the best virtuosos on the planet in terms of jazz. And it's been a beautiful thing. Beautiful. So this is part of it. What are the people looking for in terms of the leadership that they need to be better musicians, but most importantly, better human beings? That's really the thing. Be a better being, right? So that takes a lot of practice in some cases. Some people are more advanced naturally than others. They may need to practice certain rituals less than other people who have more common sense about it. And of course, all of these are valid levels of reality for people.